Good day. In October of 2022, Elon Musk purchased Twitter. Since that time, he has opened it up to every shape of ideas and every thought process out there. Everybody has a voice in Twitter. It is now a marketplace for alternative and contrary views. Twitter has become very indispensable as a news source, and it is now the #1 news platform in 150 countries. As a geopolitical analyst, I always go to Twitter to find the news that has found its way into my news feed. And today, we're going to do another deep dive in my series that I call X Review. X Review is where I analyze all the geopolitical implications of some of the news I find, give it a deeper understanding and meaning for that news. That way, we get to understand how all these disparate actions from all over the world add in giving us clarity as to what's happening. It is very different from the narrative shaping news we always have from the alternative media. So welcome to my channel, Ebimo Amongo's Perspective on Global Affairs. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe. If you have any thoughts regarding the opinions I express, please put them in the comment section. Do well to like and share. Twitter is very important to anybody who is seeking news and who is also trying to get an understanding of what the other side says about the news. If you want the other side's news, you come to Twitter. And this is why it's very important to me. Now, my first story for today, my first analysis is from Johannes Maria. I post what is important to me, what I like. Content often comes from Chinese media, Red Note, Douyin, Kashao Weibo. I am German. Okay. And what do we have here? A video taken in Chengdu, China, a city known for its panda and bear. Chengdu is considered a tier 1 city, signifying it meets the highest standards in China. The featured library is situated in the 3rd floor of a shopping mall. Discreetly concealed from view at the entrance, I stumbled upon a feng shui bookstore accident. Yes, this 10-year now is about China. We should know one thing about China. China has 5 tiers of cities. The big cities, the real big one, technologically advanced ones like Shenzhen and Chengdu, are tier 1 cities. Sometimes they have vast populations. Populations sometimes that range. Chengdu has 30 million people. The kind of numbers that China puts out there, we should remember China is 1.4 billion people. But it is not just that. The narrative we've always had about China is that China's cities, China is not a place you want to be. But because of apps like Weibo, Twitter, and Red Note, Chinese apps like TikTok, a lot of people now have come to experience China, and China has become opened up to a lot of. We now have a lot of China revealing channels on YouTube where people take deep dives and go into different cities and like travel experiences. So this one here now is obviously one of them. It has debunked all that the narrative that the media always used to put out about China.
This is the bookshop of the future in China. I cannot believe my eyes. This feels like something out of Harry Potter, and I've never seen the movies, but I'm assuming that's what this looks like. This is insane. We have spiral staircases going up to a 2nd floor. This is the main floor of the bookshop. I mean, we have to keep exploring, right? I just took
Yes, there's a lot of superlatives about China. There's a lot of, in fact, one of the main things now is that China breaks a lot of records in many cities. Shenzhen is a spectacular city. Beijing has its own spectacular attractions. Shanghai, the cities are there, and they are categorized into tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 cities. And he has visited Chengdu. Chengdu, I think, is where they have in Sichuan, where they have the pandas. I may be wrong. The Chinese viewers here, if you or anybody who knows China, can correct me on that. Carl Jia is a very known commentator from China. He runs the host Silk and Steel podcast in China, history, culture, and politics. He has here. This is my hotel room in Hampton Inn, Houghton, Xinjiang. You get some really nice hotel rooms at really affordable prices in China. There's a lot of recent investment in Xinjiang. This hotel, like many others that I stayed in Xinjiang, just opened last year. So this is his hotel room. It's also one of those China exposure then and reveals. One of the things too about China that we should also know is that because of the purchasing power parity, by terms of purchasing power parity, China is the biggest economy in the world by miles. They are way, way ahead of them because $1 in China goes way, way more than $1 would in America. And people get real quality for their value for their money whenever they spend in China. So he's here now amused about Xinjiang. We should know is the region where it's supposed to be the far eastern part of China, and it is where they have all these allegations of maltreatment of the Uyghurs and all that. But Xinjiang is actually a very big economic hub now. It is where China has decided that that's the node from which a lot of trade between China and Central Asia will take place. And Xinjiang has developed. That's the capital of cotton, tomato, and quite a lot. Xinjiang is not what the media in America presents it to be. We have here Flotilla latest. It is very surreal to draw such comfort from the site. Yes, this is the Sumud. Obviously, this is the Sumud Flotilla that is taking a lot of aid to Gaza, and this is the calm, obviously, before the storm because they're getting and approaching they're approaching Gaza Palestinian shore, and it's obvious that they will be met with some form of resistance by the Israelis. We should remember that there was a time Turkey tried something like this, where Turkey sent a flotilla to go and break a siege on Gaza one time, and the Israelis Rapsol, they came in from the helicopters, commandos moved in and killed some Turkish or humanitarians then. It created a lot of problems between Israel and Turkey, and it took almost 5 or 10 years before that relationship was strengthened. This particular one now is led by a lot of activists, climate activists, and they are moving in and trying to break the siege so that they can get some humanitarian things to Gaza. We are, as an inch closer, Spain and Italy are giving them warships, but as they move closer, we know that suddenly something is going to happen, and we are waiting on that. This year is the big news of the day. Kellogg, Trump gave Zelensky permission to strike deep inside Russia. Monica Page, I just want to clarify. Are you saying that president's position is that Ukraine should conduct? We have always known how the Russians have always said that any attack by any any Western weapon system is an attack that they will fight, they can take retaliatory action. So Biden himself only gave attack-ons. But we hear now that Zelensky is asking the president for Tamahawk missiles so that he can strike deep into Russia. Already he's striking deep into Russia with his drones. His drones are quite doing a lot, but for the Russians feel that using Western weapons mean that the Western country involved will be directly involved. They are now co-belligerents. And as co-belligerents, they take it that they are open to responding. Kellogg here is saying, by his own interpretation of certain statements by President Trump, that he believes that what is going on now is that Trump has authorized deep strikes against Russia by Ukraine. Let us listen.
Get that. We should react accordingly.
I just want to clarify. Are you saying, though, that it is the president's position that Ukraine can conduct long-range strikes into Russia, that has been authorized by the president?
I think reading what he has said and reading what Vice President Vance has said, as well as Secretary Rubio, the answer is yes. Use the ability to hit deep. There are no such things as sanctuaries. That's one of the reasons I believe that this last week, and it has been confirmed, that President Zelensky asked President Trump to get Tomahawk missiles, which give you a depth. They're really good systems. America makes the best systems in the world.
Are we giving him the Tomahawks?
Well, that decision has not been made, but he's asked. I know that President Zelensky did.
I doubt if that decision will be made and agreed to. I sincerely doubt. As an analyst, I believe that that's his own interpretation of that of what the president is saying is completely wrong. I think it is wrong, and there will be clarifications coming up later on. He has definitely moved. Is assuming what may not necessarily be true because the Russians have not been hiding it. They have said it categorically that they will respond to any Western threat. And recently, their rhetoric has really heightened. So for the British, who used to give the Ukrainians Storm Shadow and the French, who also have another long range system that they give to the Ukrainian Scalp, they don't the Russians say that the Ukrainians will need coordinates and need involvement of operatives. And that's the reason why the Germans have been very circumspect about giving the Ukrainians access to their Taurus missiles. So Kit Kellogg here being the most hawkish, he is the one on the side of Ukraine. He wants this war to escalate. He wants America to be part of it. Obviously, he's one of those old generals, part of the who have believed so much in America's power because he's part of the post Soviet Union Cold War, post World War Cold War doctrine and thinking, what the Chinese call Cold War mentality. So this escalation is seeking. I doubt if he's interpreting the president very well. My conjecture is that he will be rebuked. He is making much more than he has been more than his remit. It is very inflammatory, and it could lead to misrepresentation. Kellogg is the hawk that is seeking to push America into World War III, a clear war with Russia, which he believes that America can win, but which those generals who are on ground now know that because of so many tensions and stresses, America may just not be ready. Besides, President Trump has signaled completely his intent to leave Europe. But that's the big story of the day. Kellogg is alleging. This is another story about China again. Witness the world-class wonder. World's tallest bridge opens today from People's Daily Reporter's Lens. Behold the awe-inspiring Wanyang Canyon Bridge, soaring 625 meters above the Earth's crack. This bridge is a world record beater. It's the highest bridge in the world. We should know that the Chinese are the preeminent builders of bridge in the world. This particular province, Xinjiang, I think Guangzhou province, is very mountainous and it has a lot of bridge. The Chinese have built over 1 million bridges all across their country. There's something unique about this particular bridge. I don't know how true it is, but there's I saw where they were like putting a restaurant on the very top of one of those pillars there, one of those columns. If that is true, then it will be unique. But it definitely is a world beater. It's a very high bridge, 625 meters above the ground, and it's a world record. The Chinese are celebrating it. The Chinese are celebrating the fact that at this point in time, they are the number one when it comes to civil engineering. Civil engineering, bridges, roads, high-rise buildings. There's none who does it better than the Chinese. They've developed different types of concrete. They build high-rises in all their cities. We should remember that China used in 3 years the amount of concrete America used in a century. That's a kind of rapid pace of development. It is because of this rapid pace of development that the economies of Australia and all those countries that sell steel and cement and all those other products. China is already the biggest producer of cement, but those are like Australia that sells ore, iron ore. They've had a robust growth because consumption from China is unrelenting, it's continuous, it's always been there. China is launching a new visa to attract young STEM professionals. This is a very big news. China is mirroring every single action of President Trump. I wouldn't use the word mirror. Mirror will mean like a like on the other side, but If President Trump puts tariff on Brazil and says, we don't want your coffee, we're tariffing your coffee for 50%, China says, Brazil, come into our market. If President Trump puts 14% tariff on our African goods, China says, African countries, you can come and sell your goods at zero tariff in our market. So President Trump put $100,000 for H1B1 visas recently, and China has said that they are launching a visa scheme to attract young foreign STEM professionals. It it is obviously visa free. In fact, the way I read our visa thing is that they can come into the country, they can stay, they don't even need to have a job. They can come into the country and find a job and all. One of the big things that benefits of Britain and England is that they benefited from many years of colonialism. So a lot of people wanted to come to their countries. America may not have been a colonial country, but America was very good in its soft power in selling the concept of the American dream. A lot of people believe that their future is better in America. But these days now, China has become a technological hub where the cutting edge research in nuclear is number one. They are number one in nuclear research. They are number one in science. We now see that in AI, they are the other pool. They are the other giant in AI. We know of companies like in electronics, they are very, very good. That's why you have all these companies like Huawei, Xiaomi, and why Shenzhen is the where over 90% of all the electronic products on earth is produced in Shenzhen. The next story here is obviously a story that is very interesting. Do people not watch this and say, why is Netanyahu addressing our nation again? And why is he saying he doesn't control Trump? There has been a big propaganda, it's not propaganda, but allegation by Tucker Carlson that he heard Netanyahu making a boast that he controls President Trump. There are some big supporters of the Israeli project and Israel, and one of them is Fox. So anytime Netanyahu comes, the Netanyahu and the Israelis have losing the narrative. Tucker Carlson, Candace Owen, Steve Bannon, and people with big platforms have put pressure on Israel, claiming that Netanyahu wants to use American citizens, American people to go and fight his wars, and he has full and complete control over the decisions taken by President Trump. So Tucker Carlson mentioned that he was making a big boast around the world that in the Middle Eastern region that he controls Trump. So they gave him the opportunity on Take on Fox to debunk that. And let's listen to what he said.
He did in his first term in recognizing Jerusalem as our capital, moving the American embassy there, recognizing our sovereignty over the Golan Heights, getting out of the disastrous Iran deal, and then, of course, now joining us in the effort to prevent Iran from getting nuclear weapons by taking out some of these nuclear sites with us.
It is this complete being beholden to Israel that has cost a lot of Americans antipathy. They are now very unhappy about it. They feel that somehow, because of America is always in Israel's corner, Netanyahu has not taken the path of peace, and in all his 30 years as being prime minister, he has moved from one war to the other. He has escalated his rhetoric for war at a time America is trying to scale back, do some inventory, recalibrate itself, because America now has a clear and present danger, or they have another opponent, not a danger, but another opponent they want to take down, and that's China. So the wars in Ukraine and the war that is continually being pushed by Netanyahu has become a big distraction, and they've reached an inflection point where a lot of Americans are now asking, why is America so beholden to Israel, especially Donald Trump, who has done everything to favor the Israelis. We should remember that one of the biggest supporters of the Trump campaign was Maria Madelson, and she is the one who also has a lot of influence. He does have a lot of support in it is your best interest as a politician in America to be in the good books of the Israeli lobby, and but the sway they have over him is what is beginning to cause a lot of people in the MAGA part of the political, there are a lot of pain. Here again, we find the same flotilla again, the global Sumud Flotilla, German activist and steering committee member Yasmin Aka, and Thunberg, I think. They are both Greta Thunberg, yeah, that's her name. They are all in that flotilla. They are going. The flotilla is currently accompanied by an Italian Navy vessel, while the Spanish and Navy ship is also expected. They are worried now. Those Italian and Spanish ships will not intervene if the Israelis attack them, and the Israelis definitely will attack them. We know what Israel will do. They don't particularly. They are beginning to worry about their global image and the fact that the whole world is watching what is going on now. But I think they've crossed the Rubicon. They may want to discourage anybody that is trying to challenge them. It's not in your best interest to challenge Israel.
We are one step closer to Gaza, which makes us feel more motivated and determined than ever. But of course, as each day goes by, the genocide continues to escalate, and the Palestinians are continued to be oppressed, mass slaughtered, and starved. So the urgency of this mission cannot be overstated. But of course, as well, the closer we get to Gaza, the risk against us also increases. So we call upon each government to end their complicity in the genocide, and we call for
it's dawning on them. Israel will take action on them, and Israel is a lot of people have different names for them now. I will not join them because I'm trying to be this thing, but it's if I look through all the previous attempts to blockade Gaza, they have failed. No, and Israel has been brutal and hard on all those other attempts. I had already mentioned the Turkish attempt, and there was another one recently also. But this one involves a high profile with Greta Thunberg. This will be a second attempt. She had been stopped once. Her ship was stopped and she was deported. But this time around, she came back again, determined with a bigger fleet, and the whole world's eye is on her. She's a brave one. She started as a kid and climate activism, and now she has found a new cause again. This year is Vice President Vance. There is subtle campaigning going on already in America. Charlie Kirk's memorial gave an opportunity for the world to see those people who are claiming, who are going to be the main fighters in the presidency to take over from President Trump. And it was supposed to have been anchored practically by J.D. Vance, but we saw the performance of Rubio. So there's a big post-Trump campaign already going. J.D. Vance is very much in the mix of it, and Marco Rubio too is in the mix of it. And we are seeing that Vance is playing his card well. He has some of Trump's closest allies in his corner. But definitely you can be very sure that the post-Trump campaign has already started. That is how I see it in this particular case here now. Zelensky impersonator is now on Ukraine's kill list. Ukraine's kill list is getting bigger every time. Anybody who is not who supports the Russians or who goes to become friends of the Russians suddenly find themselves added to the Voret list for propaganda of Russian fascism and Nazism. That is how they see it. Recently, the grandchild of Charles de Gaulle went visiting Russia, and he says that because of the values Russia have, the Christian values, this is where he wants his grandchildren and his children to grow up. And I think he asked for Russian citizenship. It was promptly added to the list. The list is very extensive. A lot of American actors, commentators, anybody who supports Russia or who calls for dialogue with Russia is added to this list. It's a kill list. It's now getting to be very, very long. And it's not a list that anybody should take lightly. China again comes up here. This is metro in China. Yes, Chinese metros are very, very, very fascinating because they have the world's largest network of high-speed trains. But it's not just that. These are huge centers, the ones in Shanghai, the ones in Shenzhen, Guangzhou. One opened recently that was in I think Guangdong or so. These are meeting points of quite a lot of rail systems from a lot of places. They are way, way, way bigger and much more fascinating than even some of the biggest airports in the world. They are huge and humongous, and it just shows where, as I'd already been talking about Chinese engineering. The thing about Twitter and X and Douyin and all these things is that they bring these images to the average American who had just been told lies completely for several years. If you live in Africa, you will know how the Chinese are very good at going to the slums. I mean, the BBC and the, Sky and CNN, they are going to the slums of all the cities in Africa and creating the image that that is Africa. Narrative shaping has been Africa has been a victim of it. China has been a victim of it. Many South American countries have been a victim of it, but due to X and um, and Twitter and all these other channels out there, TikTok, we now see all these images. The big debate about COVID. This one is about a story about COVID and how some people wanted to be vaxxed and some don't want to be vaxxed, and how governments were very repressive against those people who chose not to be vaxxed. In America here now, the president's health secretary RFK is pushing back and rolling back all those compulsory vax laws and ordinances. So this year was, I think, Australia. She was complaining about it. We'll move on from COVID. Let's go to something that is also very pertinent, very new. Maya Sandu wins the Moldovan election. The past party secures the most, almost 46% of the total votes. This election in Moldova, a country of almost just about 3 million people, was very, very, very incendiary. It was almost a flashpoint because the Europeans looked at it as she has managed to find herself into the good graces of the European political class. And like I had said in one or two other of my posts before, the Europe is now has a lot of powerful women, and she moved herself into it. And for them, this project was a very big one. They banned parties that lean towards Russia. They put so much propaganda against people who spoke for those parties, and then they also now limited the amount of access to ballot paper in Russian-speaking provinces, and even in Russia. They have a huge diaspora in Russia and some in Western Europe. They favor the diaspora in Western Europe, gave them ballot positions in almost 300 places, polling booths they could go and vote in, but only 2 polling booths for those in Moscow. So ultimately, they got the result they wanted. It was they very weighed in. It puts one to wonder how the Europeans can be telling the world about democracy when we see what they did in Romania and how they've influenced this election in Moldova. But obviously, it will really reduce tension because we already know that the French have troops in Moldova. Ukraine was also planning on invading Moldova should the matter had gone in favor of the Russian group, and there was a lot of tension there. So this will definitely bring down some tension. The video taken from inside Kharkiv appeared to show Ukrainian MLRs firing at Russian position from within the city. Earlier today, Belgorod power plant was struck by HIMARS. So I'm willing to. So this is ongoing. Ukraine has really stepped up their ability to do harm within Russia. The use of HIMARS artillery actually destroyed a power plant in Belgorod, and Belgorod was in darkness for a while. Belgorod is one of the regions that border Russia, and it was one of the regions that always used to get incursions by Ukrainian troops, or the troops that used to go into Russia from Belgorod used to be mainly the Russians in exile who support the Ukrainians, Russia's national party or something like that. They were the ones who always used to do that incursion. And recently, the Ukrainians damaged a big power plant. They got a successful hit, and Belgorod was in darkness for a while. I will take just these two last ones now. We'll end here. Breaking: Israel and US are planning on attacking Iran again soon. TASS. The Russians believe that Israel and US are planning an attack on Iran again. In fact, more THAAD systems have been sent to Israel, I mean, and more THAAD systems, and there's been a lot of preparations going on. There's a lot of thinking. But I have analyzed this yesterday. I don't think that America and Israel are in the place to conduct the kind of exercise they conducted on 13th of June when they attacked Iran, tried to decapitate the Iranian leadership. The Iranians are very aware now, and they have said they are going to respond. All the Arab countries that cooperated with Israel and cooperated with America in that enterprise are now completely at odds with Israel. It will be a very foolhardy project if Israel goes in it. And that build-up that we saw that the Americans made in the Persian Gulf, they are not doing it. They have moved away from the Persian Gulf and moved to Venezuela instead. That ability to interdict and stop the missiles of Iran, there was a big build-up. There was cooperation between the Arab countries. So no matter what Israel may be planning, and they will not definitely be successful. The Iranians are much more ready, more alert, and willing and able to put more pain on Israel. I doubt if this will ever take place. They may be posturing, but I doubt if it will take place. I sincerely believe that it won't take place. My last story is about the ongoing problems in UK, anti-immigration led by Tommy Robinson, and the fact that he's using the UK flag, and this flag has now become a flashpoint where the British government is complaining that if you fly the flag with an intent that is not patriotic, you can be jailed. But there's resistance. The flying of the flag now, a UK flag, has become a point of how do they say it? Point counterpoint. It is a test of will between those who want Britain to remain the way it is and those who wish for Britain to become more nationalist. So the nationalist forces, the nationalist voices, they are getting their voice to be heard, but they have a figure that many people don't particularly like in the establishment, and that's Tommy Robinson. And it is because of Tommy Robinson that they feel that it is a nationalist, it is against UK, and people get arrested for flying the flag. Anyway, this is where I end my video for today. If you have any opinions regarding the views I've expressed today and the news items I analyzed, please put them in the comment section. Do well to like and share. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe. Until I see you in my next video again. Goodbye.